We got some gambling going on.
So I got
All right,
four
first spot, we got an all in.
Let's go.
I have you dominated.
No,
all
no,
in.
don't do it.
Do you guys want to see me make the worst read of all time?
Has no patience, look at his face and in his eyes. He's been way bound to the die. Always taking chances, all those conversations. Don't know if I'll make it, don't know why he even tries. Say, oh, I am a believer. Oh, don't know how I'll be if I'm not free to take a lead. Oh, I am a believer. Oh, ground beneath my feet, but I don't flee cause I believe.
What's up, guys? It's Cameron.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Raising the Nuts. I didn't steal anything. You just said it. No.
Okay, this is how it goes. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Raising the Nuts.
This is a very special episode. We're down at Maryland Live for my
What's up,
first
guys?
ever. Oh, you gotta say what's up,
guys? Meetup game.
First ever meetup game. Maryland Live was nice enough to ask me to come down here, and I love it here. The last two videos I did here from Andrew and Brad's meetup games have been incredible. The hotel is amazing. It's pretty new, and the room is awesome. Everybody there does a great job running the game. So right now there's actually 78 people on the list, which is kind of crazy. We're gonna go down and get started pretty soon, right, buddy?
Yeah, we're getting lunch right now.
No, we're not doing a tour of our hotel room.
Okay.
What did you say, buddy?
Let's do a tour of the lunch.
Oh, we're gonna get lunch. Can you show everybody your shirt? What's it say?
Little Savage. No, those were tacos.
Those Bros Tacos? I think it says Little Savage.
No, Daddy.
All right, let's go down and get started.
It's
Before the game got started, we had lunch at David's with a lot of good friends. Nice conversation, good times had there. Also got to meet up with several vlog watchers, including Mark, who gave us this awesome Raising the Nut shirt, as well as some Godiva chocolates for the kids. And then went over to the poker room to get things started. It didn't take long for games to get going. There was already 2 going by the time I got over there, and we eventually ended up getting up to 7 games. Buying into the game for $400, we're playing 1-3 with a $400 max, and sit down at my first table ready to get some action going. And little did I know, I didn't have to do anything to get the action going, because apparently there was already a lot of crazy things happening in this game. Now let me preface this by saying that the previous vlogs that I've done on the Poker After Dark series, when I did those 4 videos, they were way more informational in nature. I went through a lot more on ranges and things like that. This is not going to be the case in this one because there's a lot of gambling going on. There's a lot of fun being had. And this is what you can expect from my meetup games. We're going to get in there playing a lot of hands, playing hands blind, doing all kinds of crazy things. On the first table, the guy to my left who did not want to be named in the vlog was in there gambling it up. Prior to me getting there, he was shoving all in every single hand. And so when I sat down, I was going to give them the action, and here we go. All right, I have a really bad hand, but I'm going to call you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I don't care. Let's go.
We're gonna call. You got the best hand with the deuce 8.
That's your 5. Is that your 5?
That's my 5 in there, yeah.
We could trade.
You want to trade?
Yeah.
No.
I'll take the 4, you take the 8. So I got 2
All right,
4
first spot,
diamonds.
we got an all in. That's not a good door card.
Oh, 8.
We get the 6
got
ball.
4, 5. Oh, man.
6.
6.
You got a flush draw now, too. I got very little 6s. That's a flush. I pay him out his $88, and predictably, the next hand he shoves again.
All right, what do you got?
I got Queen 8.
9-4. I just need a 9.
All right.
I just need a 9. I need a 9.
We got some gambling going on
I need
here.
a
I don't know
9.
how to do this yet.
Yeah, 2-3.
Are you serious? Yeah. I'm 0 for 1 so far on all-ins right now.
Today's going to be a good day.
This is my man.
9-4. Let's go.
That's good so far for me.
So 9. Need a 9.
Uh-oh. I don't think you can win this one.
Shackies. Oh, no.
Keep going.
Keep going?
Keep going. See if you can get there. So I got him in the second one, and then he disappeared for a little bit, came back with $575, of which $400 he was allowed to put on the table. And in the first hand back, I limped in with King 7 of clubs, and he made it $100. I shoved it all in there, and then he thinks for a little bit about what to do, but we all know what he's going to do, right?
Wait, I have all this to gamble with too, right?
Next time.
Next time you will be.
Let's go.
There you go. All right, there you go.
I forgot. I didn't know I had more money.
All right.
3-7. Let's go.
I have you dominated.
Oh! 3. Oh, nice hand. Damn it. Almost.
3 hands into my first ever meetup game, and I'm up $500. I like the way this is going. Even better news, I look down to pocket queens with terrible camera work as usual. Sorry about that. And my man to my left has chipped up to $350. He puts in the raise under the gun to $20. There's a call, and I go ahead and make it $120 out of the straddle. He pretends to think for a little bit, but we all know what he's going to do. He's never folding. After a good 20 seconds, he puts that $100 in there. And Eric calls behind as well. So we got a 3-way pot with queens here going to the flop with not much money behind for everyone. Both of my opponents have about $250, so when the flop comes down 8-7-3 with 2 spades, there's only one thing to do.
All in.
Yep, same.
We do have a few seats available.
Oh my gosh!
What you got?
I got the world, baby.
Give him the world. That's a
I
break.
got the straight,
What?
and now I got a flush.
Nice.
Straight flush.
Nice hand. You got your revenge.
Chico.
Queens.
Chico. I got the world and everything that belongs to it.
How much? 235. My man deserves it.
Hey, I've been gambling.
He deserves it.
I went to ATM 3 times already.
Okay, so he got me in that one. Now we're a little bit deeper. So it's time to tighten up and just wait for a really good spot against him. Just kidding. When someone gives you that much action, you got to return the favor. And so when we see a 3-way flop of Queen 8-5 and I have 7-6 and he puts in a big raise to 250, there's only one thing I can do.
All right. Gotta fold it, right?
I'm gonna gamble with you.
No.
in.
Don't do it. All right, that's cool.
We're just gambling though.
The turn is a 6, so I think I had a few more outs, but the river is a blank and I don't get there.
I have a 6.
You here?
Nice hand.
So I lose the $1,300 pot. Now I'm stuck $400. And meetup games are the worst, never having one again.
Nice hand.
Fortunately, shortly after rebuying, I look down at pocket queens again, and I limp in from the button, and my man puts in the raise to $36. Eric, my friend in the big blind, makes the call, and I play a little game that I used to play back in my heads-up days of how much are they willing to call pre-flop. So I go ahead and make it $275 out of my $400 stack, knowing that this guy's not going to fold. He hasn't folded yet pre-flop, so he's not going to start now, right? Sadly, I found one of the hands that he would fold, which is 9 deuce, but my friend Eric puts it in for his last little bit with 10-8 of diamonds, and my hand holds up without a sweat.
Nice hand.
Thanks.
This next one's a pretty strange one. I have 6-3 of hearts. The flop comes king 6-6, and he bets $15. I just say he because I assume you know who I'm talking about. I put in the raise to $50. He doesn't think too long and makes the call.
Good hand.
The turn is an offsuit 3. I have a full house. I'm going to win all my money back from him, so I have to make a big bet here on the turn to size up on the river. I go ahead and bet $120, and he thinks it over for a bit, and then this happens.
I think we're gonna play a big one. No? You wanna see a card?
Nah, I don't have anything, man. I got 4-5.
You got a straight draw. You just turned a straight draw.
Yet again, terrible camera work here by me. He's showing me that he has 5-4 offsuit, so he called the flop with 5 high, turned the best possible card, and now he's folding. Not sure what the heck is going on here.
I know, but
I got you beat. There you go. You got beat.
I don't care. It's an ace, right?
You called the flop. You hit your card on the turn.
I wanted you to fold. Wait, I called you, right?
You called my raise.
All right, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break. He can't fold if I call him, right? All right. Man, the pressure was real.
Apparently he thought he raised me on the flop, I guess, but then he still folded the turn. I don't know. Maybe he saw my first Maryland Live video where I showed the 10 and had a full house, and that's why I made the fold, but I doubt it.
That's why I got to go all in.
My last hand at this first table somehow doesn't involve him in a major way. I have ace-5 offsuit in a multi-way pot where the flop has come 5-3-2, all diamonds. The flop checked around, and the turn was another 5s, giving me trips. I bet $20 and get 4 snap calls, so I make a simple request to the dealer.
How's everybody have something? You guys all check the flop.
I got that straight draw. don't need that 6 to come out. Or is that just me?
How about a 5? I'll take a 5 on the river.
Nah.
Anybody have a 5?
5 of clubs?
You're the best.
That's the second time today.
You are the best. How about that? If I ask
Now
for
you
5,
gotta bet it.
yeah, I gotta make a big bet here,
Like
probably.
100, yeah.
Let's go. Let's go 300.
That's gonna get for him.
Oh, he's got at least a boat. And there's a quad.
There were $500 high hands going off every 20 minutes. Unfortunately, this did not qualify, but I did get the call at least. Now I'm back up $300, but it's time to table change after an action-packed 45 minutes. Moving on to table 2, joined by several people who traveled quite a distance to be here. Pan, Kimmy, Eric, and Keith, ready to get back into action. And first hand, I look down at 8-4 suited, limp in there. There's a raise to 20. Pan makes the call, and then unfortunately, Keith puts in a 3-bet to 60, so I actually have to fold a hand pre-flop, and I feel really sad about it. But then I feel even more sad about it when the flop comes down 4-4-4. That's right. I made quads again, which was the second straight hand that I made quads, because I made quads at the previous table. There ended up being a ton of action to pot because Keith had kings, the player to my left, Daniel, had queens and folded, and Pan had jacks, and I would have won a huge pot, obviously, if I wasn't such a nit. Obviously tilted by the previous hand, and out to prove I'm not a nit, I 3-bet the 3-deuce offsuit on the button versus the cutoff from $15 to $40. I would advise against this decision. This is not a winning play, but I'm here to give some action and make some people feel some pain. My opponent makes the call, which seems like a wise choice considering his hand is almost definitely better than mine. Flop comes out pretty good for 3-deuce offsuit. It comes 6-5-4, we flop the straight, just like I drew it up. Unfortunately, he checks and I bet $50.
This flop usually hits me.
He thinks for a really long time and ends up folding and tells me that he had ace-6, which against all the hands that I have is probably not a good fold, mostly because if I'm 3-betting 3-deuce offsuit, I'm also 3-betting pretty much every other hand, and ace-6 is ahead of most of those.
Here you go.
I'm sure if I should bring my sunglasses, and she's like, do you really want to look that stupid?
That's me, I told you.
In this next hand, I'm going to teach you an old live pro trick. The key to flopping a set with a small pocket pair. I hope you're listening here, Jamin Burton. The key is to have the number of people who see the flop be the same as your pocket pair.
How many players we have here? 5 players. 5, okay. Five players, right?
Once you make your set, it's fun to make bet sizes that tell your opponents what you might have without them even realizing it.
55.
55.
The turn card is the Queen of Clubs, which brings backdoor clubs, so I'm going to actually give you some real strategy advice here on this one. Now we're going to have to size up pretty big. There's 2 flush draws on the board, lots of straight draws. My opponents are likely to have either draws or weaker holdings, given they both just called on the flop. Their best hands are probably Queen 9 each, but they're way more likely to have draws, and with my hands, my strongest hands, I want to charge those draws, and with my bluffs, I want to put the pressure on the weaker hands. So I'm going to go for a very large sizing. The pot is $250, so there's only one bet size that makes sense here.
255. I have a very key card in my hand. You gotta just listen. If you listen, you hear it all.
I don't think you have it.
Don't think I have what?
I don't think you have anything.
I have at least one pair. That's probably good right now.
One pair is more than good. Right?
Yeah. Look, so look, there's 5 players.
Yep.
I bet 55 on the flop, 255 on the turn,
Right, makes sense.
and you got 3 5s.
Yes. Perfect sense.
I head on over to my third table of the night, which consists mostly of some of my really good friends in poker. And this table, if you thought the previous action was crazy, this was the craziest table of the night. We had $25 a man, 7 deuce on. There were multiple straddle pots of 2, 3, 6, 12, 24, 48, $25 a man bomb pots, and just a lot of spewing going on.
We're here now. We're here now. This is the 4BB table, plus a few celebrities. This guy.
I believe this guy's name was Kempu, and he just fit in perfectly with our crew.
Yeah.
Most of the hands at this table are playing with a $6 straddle and a $12 blind raise. And in this one, first one, I look down at 8-9 offsuit and make it $50 in the small blind. And my friend Paul makes the call from the straddle.
Is it again?
I did better.
We're going to try something here. Not sure it's going to turn out, but as you can see there, my friend Brad is filming from the other side of the table. So we're going to try 2 different angles of this disaster of a hand.
All right. We're going to bet 20 in the dark. The cheese.
I'm gonna wait and see what happens.
I just need water. Just 60. Just 60. I'll even show you one card. You want to see one card, Paul? I'll show you one right now. I don't know if you know this, but wait, the filming is going.
Pick it?
Yeah, I'm gonna show.
the other one.
No, I don't know if you know this. 100% of the time on my vlog that I've done this, I've won the pot.
I mean, he has
Only two possible.
He has 10-4. He has to call.
Deuce 7 got there. Oh, I don't have Deuce 7.
You might. It's an option.
I might have Deuce 7.
I'll show one before I make my decision.
Oh my God!
It's only fair that you show one.
Wait, hold on. That's not showing there. There we go. He showed one. Paul showed one. Listen, Paul is a coffee connoisseur.
Can you show the other one?
All right, there we get to. I don't know if you guys.
The logo on Paul's hat here might look familiar, Snowing in Space, if you watch my previous video. If you're wondering what I'm drinking here, it's Snowing in Space Nitro Cold Brew Coffee. They did not pay me to say this, but it's really good and you should go buy some.
Oh my God!
Yep, he does have it. He has a real hand.
He's got the real hand.
He's just doing this to promote his head.
Yeah, I know, right? He called.
So now 99% of the
Hit me.
time.
King 9's good?
Now 99% of the time you won the hand.
King 9's good? King 9 winner, coffee 9 to his rage, don't bluff him.
You can't get
Snowing in Space is Paul's company, so now not only did I give him some free advertising, I also just gave him a bunch of money in this hand. Don't worry though, I will get my revenge. Next hand I have King 6 offsuit on the button in a multi-way pot, and we see a flop of King Queen Jack with 2 diamonds. Not usually a flop that you want to put a lot of money in with a pair of kings and a weak kicker. But when my opponents check to me, I go ahead and bet $50, and Kempu in the small blind makes the call. The turn card is the 6 of diamonds, so I make 2 pair, but the flush does get there. And this is where things get pretty interesting, so I'll let you guys follow along here. But basically, Kempu gets a phone call, which he declines, which is usually a pretty strong sign of a good hand.
Is his hand dead?
He just told the video his old stuff. He just told.
Wait, you got a log too?
He just turned the phone call down.
He just told whoever it was. He called back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's like,
By the
that's
way,
so great.
It's
like, watch me on the street.
That's
That's
right.
Take another one. Right there. He turns on his camera.
It said work. He just said no. He declined.
Do you guys want to see me make the worst read of all time?
Get it, Kempo. Get him.
The pot is 170, Kempu has 225 behind, and so despite him turning the phone call down, I decided to shove anyway, declaring that I was going to make the worst read of all time. Turns out I was correct. It was the worst read of all time.
Yes.
Please have the nuts.
I don't have a flush. What do you got?
No one's who? Kempu, what are you doing, man?
I got the 6.
You want to show?
And the king.
You want to show?
Oh!
Oh, he flopped it.
We need
No
a time.
diamond draw.
Diamond!
King or 6. King or 6.
He's got 10-9 of spades. He flopped the straight and trapped me. For some reason, I root for a diamond, even though that won't help me. I have 4 outs to win. King of spades one time, please, dealer.
Diamond.
Can you give him the money, please? What do you do? Oh my God! Oh, it's so not fair.
Bro, turn off your camera, Kimpo. Turn off your camera. Well, Trevor just lost a subscriber.
Awful read by me. That was a bad way to win, but I'll take the money. By this point, we have 7 full games going in the room. Action's packed everywhere, and everybody's having a good time, and it's time for me to get my revenge on Paul. We see a flop 4 ways for $55 each, and I have 5 deuce of diamonds.
More players. 5? Is there 5 on the flop? If there's a 5 on the flop, you're in trouble.
There's a 5.
Okay.
The flop comes ace-9-5 with 2 diamonds. Great flop from my hand, pair and a flush draw. I'm ready to go to war with it. Action checks to Danny on the button, who was the pre-flop raiser. He bets $155. He's got about $250 to $300 behind.
I told you there's a 5 on the flop. You guys are in trouble. All in.
I jam for $883, and the action's on Paul, who has me covered and has a decision to make.
Oh God, this guy's got too much money. Tanking is not good for the vlog. This is too much editing I gotta do.
You can edit. It's
way too much work.
He thinks about it for a bit and then says the magic words.
all in, he said.
Oh my God.
Give that man a red disc.
We're all in, all in, all in. We got a big pot. Yeah.
My money, I love
What do you got?
Live against you.
What do you got?
What do you got?
You have diamonds?
Oh shit.
He has queen 6 of diamonds, obviously just felt like gambling, which isn't surprising because he's so rich from his coffee business. He needs a queen 6 or diamond. The turn is a deuce, which now gives me 2 pair, means that he can only hit a diamond on the river, and the river is a beautiful jack of clubs.
Yeah. Give me that coffee money back, baby.
There's no fun in win pots from your friends unless you can needle them a little bit.
Big pot. Money either way.
You can count it. I'm not
Carrying a flush draw.
Let's just consider this payment for the free advertising. It's not free anymore, buddy.
I must make a clarification on my previous video. It turns out they did actually pay me to advertise for their product, so thank you very much, Snowing in Space. It's a pretty good feeling to win a $2,200 pot at 2-3.
Oh, he's...
135.
Only one thing left to do on this table on my list, and that's to double up Kempu here. I go ahead and make it $60 from the small blind with ace-king offsuit. He puts in the 3-bet to 135. He's got about $110 left behind, so obviously I'm not going to fold. I got to give him his shot at revenge.
Yeah, I got a good hit. Kempu, I'm all in, buddy. All in. All you can eat. I hope you win.
Run it twice?
One time. What you got, buddy?
Fair fight.
He's got pocket sevens. Everyone in the room, including myself, is rooting for him to win.
Sevens. I'm on 7.
Shoddy camera work here by me as usual. The excitement got the best of me, but the flop came queen, queen, 8, which was good for him.
Come on, 7.
No.
The turn, however, is a disaster card, a king, leaving Kempu drawing to only one of 2 sevens in the deck.
There you go, buddy. That is justice.
Justice. How much is it? Sorry. 245? Yes. Yes.
Nice hand, buddy.
I don't think I've ever been so excited to lose a hand. I wrap things up at this table, up almost $900 on the session now. There's still many more tables to go and many more hands, but I'm going to cut it off here and do a part 2 that'll come out in a couple of days because there's just so many more hands to go through. Unfortunately, no big sign-off like there is normally with the kids because I'm up here in Schenectady by myself for the next few days editing this video. So just for now, thank you guys for watching. If you like the videos, please give a big thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'm sure I'll respond, and I'll see you guys for the next one in a few days.
Say, oh.